What's up guys, my name is Ace, and a lot of you guys have been asking me how do you stay alive longer in this game, so that's what we're going to cover in this video. So the first key to staying alive in this game is to slow down your game. This isn't Black Ops 2 where you can just sprint around a corner and start to engage enemies with the confidence that your aim and your gun skill is better than theirs. You die way too fast in this game to be able to do that effectively. Even an average player will often kill you before you manage to aim down sight if you play this way. Slowing down your game also allows you to better analyze situations, which is extremely important when you're learning a new game. Because let's face it, no matter how good you were in previous Call of Duty games, this is a completely new game that plays much differently than the previous titles. Once you start to become confident with the flow of things, you will be able to speed it up a little bit and move around with a lot more confidence. Another thing that's really important to think about for staying alive is the class that you're using. The best perks that I've found to keep you alive in this game are Ready Up, Off the Grid, and Dead Silence. Since every millisecond counts for so much in this game, Ready Up makes a huge difference. It really allows you to sprint from cover to cover with the assurance that if you run into an enemy along the way, you do have a chance to get your gun up and fight back. At this early stage in the game, staying off the radar is vital. Since most people are unfamiliar with the maps and how they flow, they tend to rely a lot on their radar, so this is why I highly recommend using a silencer as well as off the grid. This gives you one less thing to worry about while trying to stay alive. As for Dead Silence, the sound in this game is one of the most useful tools for detecting enemies and staying alive. Without it, even people without a headset or surround sound can hear your footsteps. And those with a solid gaming headset will be able to pinpoint your exact location on the map from sound alone, so I highly recommend Dead Silence for staying alive. And building off this point even more, it may be very advantageous to you to use Amplify as well. This will allow you to detect enemies very easily, so you can be even more ready for gunfights before they even happen. Alright, so now the most important aspect of staying alive longer in this game is knowing the maps. These maps aren't simple like in Black Ops 2 where there was always just 3 lanes to get from one end of the map to the other. They are much more complicated than that, and each one of them plays a little bit differently. The first thing you want to learn on these maps are the areas that I like to call death traps. These are the areas that I will avoid at all costs about 95% of the time. Stonehaven has some great examples of these death trap areas, and I've marked the big one here in red. This is the best example of what I consider to be a death trap in Call of Duty Ghosts. There are several lines of sight from all over the map where snipers can pick you off in that area and you wouldn't even stand a chance against them. You will never see me in that area of the map because I made a mental note early on that you do not go there unless you want to die. The next thing you'll learn to develop in your mind once you've established the death trap areas are the safe routes. And once again, I'll use Stonehaven as an example. Marked in green are some of the safe routes that I use, and these are the routes that avoid most, if not all, of the main lines of sight on the map. I can travel along these routes with the confidence that my only real threats will be the enemies that I run into along the way. So I only have a small handful of threats to deal with, rather than traveling out in the open, exposed to every potential threat on the map. To develop this map knowledge on your own, a lot of it just comes down to trial and error. Whenever you get killed from a window or a sniper perch or something like that, don't just dismiss it and move on. Think about how you died and if there was maybe a better way you could have approached that situation to avoid the death. Was there maybe an underground or a side route that would have got you where you wanted to go safely? Or could you have used better cover in that case? By answering these questions, you solve a little puzzle in your mind, so the next time you end up in that situation, you'll already know how not to play it and you can try something different. If that doesn't work, next time try something different still, or maybe you'll just decide that you want to avoid that situation or that area of the map completely in the future. This is how you develop that map awareness and map knowledge. So those are just the top tips that I can think of off the top of my mind that keep me alive longer while playing Call of Duty Ghosts. It did take a lot of adjusting, but now that I've used these tips and I've started to learn the maps really well, I can consistently go on high kill streaks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.